In this video, we're going to be talking about how YouTube can create a much better setup for advertisements and monetization for their creators. Now, this is probably going to be a little bit harsh for those at YouTube because they're going to have to actually see what their actual problems are instead of actually ignoring them and moving on. But we're going to be looking at a couple of things. We're going to have to first look at how free markets work. This doesn't exactly come into their minds, as they tend to want to view things as a socialist organization, as they come from Alphabet, and Alphabet has tended to want to support a lot of these extreme left-wing candidates and hardcore left-wing candidates instead of actually supporting actual laissez-faire capitalist candidates that might be viewed as your libertarian or libertarian conservative candidates that are more right-leaning. And to actually get a view of this, we have to go to the Mises Institute and view it from Murray Rothbard, where he refers to the free market as basically voluntary exchange between two parties. Now, this means that basically is YouTube should not be getting in between the actual regulation formation between the advertisers and the actual creators. Not that you want to create some type of broad system for the advertisers as a whole to be able to have access, then that's fine to actually choose based on keywords. It's fine. But the fact is they do not need to be eliminating the numbers of advertisers, nor setting standards for the ability for creators to have access to these advertisers, as you'll see with where I'm going to explain with the actual standard under a constitutional law. Now, basically, this is where you want to actually create an actual system of how it benefits everyone. Now, currently with it, YouTube, which is under the Alphabet Corporation, or also known as Google, is basically they're completely dumbfounded on why their corporation is suffering, and they don't understand how actual voluntary exchange works. And this is the reason why, because you have people who do not understand what voluntary exchange is. Now, if you look at a lot of these other creators that have been able to establish relationships with other sponsors, you see that there are plenty of other sponsors outside of this group of approved advertisers that can actually get the ability to develop relationships with many different creators. And this is showing that when we have the ability to develop relationships directly with the creators, that you can have plenty of advertisers. There's plenty of them out there. The fact is it's not the fact that there's a limited number of it. There's basically a fact that YouTube is limiting the number that have access to the actual system, and this is where the problem is coming from. So when you basically create the problem of you're creating a minimum standard for these creators to access the system, which is going to make the advertisers, number one, be a little bit reluctant to enter the system, and B, you're creating a system that's basically going to be problematic because of the fact of the system is basically limited because YouTube is basically saying which advertisers have the right to enter in this system. It's going to create problems. What you need to do is essentially, as an entity, is YouTube, aka Google or the Alphabet Corporation, needs to step aside and let anybody that has the monetary means advertise with whomever they want to do it. As basically with the algorithms just set on keywords, and it's all you need to do. And you're going to notice this whole adpocalypse thing is going to be over, and you're going to notice there's going to be a huge explosion of revenue for everyone on it. And the way to do this is to lift the requirements for users to basically have access to this, to have access to enter it. You need to lift the lift the standards for advertisers to actually enter in it. And then what you're going to see right now is, when I state on this, is basically is you're pretty much creating some type of violation on freedom of speech, even though because even though this is on government, what's become on social media is the new public square, and this needs to be understood. So when this applies with it, is basically what we need is more freedom of we need more free speech out there. So not blocking people for what they're stating. Don't try to actually send comments to the bottom of the page that you don't like, and to actually block people for what statements you don't like, and making up language such as hate speech, which doesn't exist constitutionally, and to because we want more speech, not less. And this is how we get around these points. And what we're going to see is what's causing more extremist things on such things as these super chats, is because you're creating the limitations, such as making people have the 1,000 subscribers and the 4,000 watch hours on their channels to earn access to the monetization system. And this is what's causing this whole problem. So people basically lure themselves to their own, lure people from other channels to their own channel. They're essentially paying little bumps to it by entering in extremist comments on that they don't even believe on these other channels. So people are essentially going to look at the username and type it in, and then look at those other channels to essentially get feedback and possibly get subscribers. And this is the way they're doing it. And by this limitation, what you're doing is you're causing people to act more extreme than they would normally. And if you eliminate this whole barrier, what you're going to notice is people are going to act in a more normal fashion. It's the same idea as what we saw with the alcohol prohibition. Alcohol was consumed at higher amounts, and there was a lot more crime associated with it when there was a prohibition on it. The moment that they lifted the prohibition, things went to normal amounts, and it actually applies the same way if they lifted the drug prohibition. Anytime you create extreme regulations, it causes people to act in a more extreme manner because it's taboo. So if you want to actually get to that area that they want to get to, so if you want to actually eliminate that, you need to actually cause people to actually to act normal. You need to lift those regulations. and to actually create some type of a normal society by adding more freedom. Regulations don't cause people to actually act peaceful. It's actually freedom that does. The more freedom you have, the more peace that people have, and this is the way things have always worked. If you want people to act and fight out more, you're going to have more regulation, and this is what's going to happen. And I mean, if you look at the different stunts that people do on YouTube, I mean, you can blame yourself exactly for the stupid Tide Pod challenge. There was a direct cause of these standards that you created for monetization, and the way you actually were essentially eliminating a lot of these advertisers that you didn't like. It wasn't that you were losing advertisers. You were essentially you lost some, but you were essentially any new one that was actually wanting to enter in, you state they don't meet your standards of conduct, and you should never be doing that. It doesn't matter if it's a gun manufacturer. If it's a gun manufacturer, bring them on in. If it's something for medicinal marijuana, bring them on in. If it's something for toys, bring them on in. If it's something for whatever the type of item, bring them on in. It doesn't matter. Just make sure they fit to the keyword that the person is going to advertise with, and everything's going to be working out just fine. It doesn't really take a genius to figure this out. But if you limit everything, it's all it's going to do is hurt everyone. You guys get hurt, the creators get hurt, the advertisers get hurt, and eventually people are going to leave your site and go elsewhere. The advertisers are going to go elsewhere, and eventually your site's going to get shut down. And this is the way things go. And the creators are going to go elsewhere because the fact is they're not exactly happy. If you want to make the creators happy, you're going to have to release these means and let them actually earn money, because if they're creating things essentially for free to actually get up to the means, that's not fair, because they're kind of getting screwed in the whole mix because of this. Now you have, and then don't be demonetizing anyone. That's not fair at all, because you can't say your stuff's too extreme, I'm stealing your money. That's completely illegal. That's called theft. If there's a deal between them and an advertiser, and the advertiser's just fine with them, and the advertiser's already advertised on their site, that's their money. You cannot demonetize them. Once they've actually advertised with them, that's their money. If there's any problems thereon after, set by the advertiser only, then you can create some type of suspension. But if there is not set by the advertiser, then you can't do it. Then you shouldn't be doing anything. Only if the actual advertisers that are linked to their actual page are actually having a problem. That's it. And this is the way things should be going. You shouldn't be getting in the middle of this at all. Just like if they were sponsored with it, if they were sponsored with it by someone, you can't exactly demonetize them from that sponsor. That's the way things go. I mean, that's not, you can't do that with it, because you're not even involved in the whole deal. This is the whole means of it. You should not be involved in any such way with this whole system. It doesn't matter what you think of the whole system. This is not how things work. And there is no such thing as advertiser friendly. All content is going to be advertiser friendly to some type of market. It doesn't matter what type of market it's going to be. They're going to be advertiser friendly because there's some type of market out there that's going to want to watch it. Unless it's just basically nothing but blank air, which I imagine there's probably some art crew out there that's going to want to watch that, because if someone out there wants to buy a blank canvas with one blue line and spend 8 figures out there, there's probably some crew, there's probably someone out there that's going to want to watch just dead air for 20 minutes every week. So I assume there's probably going to be people out there who want to watch that. But for the most part, there's always going to be a market for any type of content. It doesn't matter how extreme, how insane the content is. And there's no reason to ban people from your platform for this. Just let them keep on going. Let them keep on spewing whatever insane things they do. As long as there's no copyright claims on the thing that are legitimate copyright claims, everything should be fine for the actual monetization. Otherwise, if there is an actual copyright claim, then monetization should be worked out, and that should be worked out in some way that's fair. If there's if there's a full out copyright, or if there's some case where the person was doing a cover, then there should be some type of split monetization in that case. If you like this video, like, subscribe, share it all around, and share it with your friends on all social media. And I will see what I can do to make another video later on. Hopefully I can get it without it becoming too late to where it doesn't render until the next day, like the last couple of days have been for my later videos. And I will see you guys later, hopefully. Bye.